What's up, everyone? Welcome to my corner of the internet. I'm your host, Ryan Kramer, and this is Crossover Commerce, presented by PingPong Payments, the leading global payments provider helping sellers keep more of their hard-earned money. What's up, everyone? Ryan Kramer with Crossover Commerce here. Thanks for joining me today on this lovely Monday. It's beautiful outside here where I'm at. Thanks for joining me on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, all of our social media platforms. I'm super excited today. We're kicking off this Black Friday week with one of my personal favorite people that I've been following on social media for a while now. Her name is Sharon Evan. She is a Amazon seller. She is an FBA coach. She is a successful businesswoman, and she's also a mom. Super excited to have her on. Just going to talk about her background, educate people from a different perspective. And if you have questions, definitely want to ask those in the comments below, whether on Facebook, LinkedIn. We're going to see them all live, and we're going to post them here on our feed. But I'm going to bring in Sharon right now. Sharon, what's up? How are you?
Hey, Ryan. I love that intro. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. How are you doing?
I'm doing well as well. You know, I can't complain. It's kind of a crazy time of year. It doesn't feel like it should be Christmas time or Black Friday just a few days away, or Cyber Monday around the corner. This whole year's just been one big blur. And when I heard Christmas music this morning on the radio, I was just like, I had to grip the steering wheel. I go, what is this doing to my mentality? It's bananas what's going on right now.
Yeah, well, I live in Israel, so we don't really, I don't celebrate Christmas, although I did grow up in New Zealand, and we had Christmaka, which is like Hanukkah and Christmas together. So I don't see what you're talking about, but it's the first year. I don't see what you're talking about in Israel, but it's the first year that I'm not overseas. We're usually somewhere in Europe in Christmas, and and then we can celebrate Christmas because there's Christmas trees everywhere and everything. And it's the first year where we won't be overseas during Christmas, which is first year in 7 years, I think, since my husband and I have been together, that we'll be celebrating December, which is also my birthday. It's my birthday next month as well.
Awesome.
Stuck in this country and not in Europe somewhere, buying lots of random stuff. He's waking up whenever we want. And yeah.
I think you're like a lot of people are plans have been put on hold for at least 1 year, and it's a little bit different, not getting together with family, or if they are trying to figure out a different way to safely do it. But so yeah, you're in Israel. For those of you who don't know Sharon, we've connected once or twice before, and she's located from New Zealand, obviously. Maybe you can tell from the accent, which is awesome. I love the accent. But in terms of where you're located now, it's you're in Israel with your son, with your husband, to FBA selling online to multiple different marketplaces, and also coaching, which is, you have so much on your plate. I don't know when you sleep. I really don't.
Because I don't. Yeah, and there's YouTube, and I do a lot of things. I do a lot of things. It's kind of crazy my life, but I love it. You have to be as insane as I am to do everything. But so I'm a Kiwi. Born to Israeli parents, and then I moved to Israel when I was 21, and I'll be 32 next month. Holy crap, I'm getting old. So yeah, that's me. So I sell on Amazon. I sell off of Amazon. I've been on e-commerce for,
I think your bio said 15 years.
I think it's more than 15 years now. I think it's 17. I've been selling online since I was 15.
Okay.
So I started selling on Trade Me, which is the eBay, you could say, of New Zealand at the time. I don't know how it is today. I haven't been in New Zealand for a long time. But when I was 15, and I was on eBay and on all sorts of different platforms. And then I had my own online store in Israel, and then that didn't go that well. And then I discovered Amazon, and haven't looked back since.
Well, that's awesome. So I guess maybe for those of people who haven't dived into your background, what brought you to e-commerce? Was it just the ability to be an entrepreneur, or, Amazon, eBay, it was big, 15 years ago or so. That would have been 2005-ish timeframe, 2006, not really big on Amazon space yet. What kind of drove you to that online e-commerce?
I only discovered Amazon in 2016. You can still hear me, Ryan, right?
Yep, I got you.
You're just focusing only on me.
We're just focused on you. It's about you.
Like, oh my God, I'm so big right now. Yeah, so I was born into an entrepreneurial household. So, I share my entire story on YouTube. Danny McMillan interviewed me, and I shared the entire story there. You need like at least a whole hour just about there to understand. But basically, I was my dad's an entrepreneur, and I was introduced into this world. When I say into this world, I mean the e-commerce world. Not just e-commerce, entrepreneurship. So buying low, selling high, and then I discovered e-commerce. It wasn't my dad who got me into e-commerce. Mm-hmm. I left home when I was 15 for various different reasons, and my mum moved back to Israel. My dad moved to Australia, and I stayed alone in New Zealand. And the only thing that my parents said was, "You can stay here if you take care of yourself." And so I did. I started buying different things, and I started importing sunglasses into New Zealand and sold them online. I think I've just been a problem solver my entire life. So in New Zealand, the UV lights, the UV rays are very, very strong, and sunglasses are very much needed. So I imported sunglasses and sold them on Trade Me, and was able to finish school and was funding myself from my online store. And I started also being in different expeditions and selling it online, selling it offline as well. And that was when it just
took off from there, right?
Yeah, and then I, discovered eBay, and there were other platforms like Israeli ones at the time when I moved to Israel. And then I started my own online store. It was a clothing store, which I don't think anyone should do. Clothing is just like such a bad thing to get into. And that's what I discovered. That's when I discovered Amazon, and now
the rest is history, right? Hopefully not.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is. The rest is history. Amazon opened a lot of doors for me because I really have used Amazon for brand building, and also brand building off of Amazon as well. And obviously I was introduced into this entire industry and found out that I'm very good at, I don't know if it's teaching, but, by mistake, I got into coaching. Like, it totally wasn't part of the plan. It just happened, and I'm still learning how to deal with it. Right. But it just opened up this entire new world to me that, I believe honestly, like, just saved my life, because I was in very dark places during different times. My brother passed away 5 years ago, which is more or less the time when my online store was in the middle of starting, and Amazon did many great things for us. So
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think you kind of touched on a couple different things, which is why when I had said, this is the title I've created for our talk, and you had replied back and you said, are you sure you want me to talk about that? I think that's something that a lot of people just don't see from an outside perspective of the impact that one can have on just being vulnerable and sharing their kind of story with people. And then a lot of people gravitate towards that. And there's one thing or another that obviously you know how to be successful. You operate multiple 6-7 figure brands, and you know what you're talking about, and you've done it for a very long time, but you've also been vulnerable enough to say, like, these are my flaws. This is where I've like really royally like just messed up, if you have. And then you also are like, are willing to help other people. So I think that's why it's super unique when people in the space, again, if you're just joining us live, we have Sharon Evan of FBA Alphas. That's her Facebook group, and that's kind of the brand that you've promoted yourself under, which is a Golden Lion, which I think is super cool. And just like kind of being vulnerable in terms of sharing information with people. Not a lot of people want to do that. They either want to price it out, whether it's a course, which there's nothing wrong to do that, but you're willing to sit down with people and answer their questions that they have about maybe something that you had figured out before. So that's why I was like, of course, like, we're going to touch on it, but you have the perspective that everyone wants to know about.
Yeah. So when you're to explain to everyone, when you said to me, let's speak about this, I was like, I've been selling online my entire life. I've been coaching for a year, like I can probably, what can I really speak about it, on the coaching level? It's something that's still new to me, and I really am still figuring it out, because you can have good intentions, but people can also sometimes cross boundaries. And I've also had to learn where to put up boundaries as well.
Sure.
And, I love coaching and I love helping, and there's a little bit of selfishness that goes to it, because it does fulfill something for me where I'm like, I was a part of what they built, or I was able to do this, or, I'm a problem solver. They came to me with this problem and I was able to solve it. And at the same time, before coaching, I was working only a couple of hours a day, and then suddenly when we started, you just said to me, when do you sleep? And suddenly I'm in front of the computer like for so many hours, and it has its toll on things. Like,
right.
It does, because I believe that you have to be doing something, giving 100% for it to work. And, I wasn't 100% on my brands in 2020. I was 75% on my brands and 200% on coaching and everything else, because I took the weight of, the world on my shoulders this year, because there were a lot of people that lost their jobs. And, and I'm trying not to be like, I'm not really that much of an emotional person, but this year specifically, I had so many people come to me with, this problem and this problem and this problem. And I always want to be as helpful as I can and help them. And at some stage, it does sort of have its toll. And then you need to start understanding balance, which I'm not that good at balancing.
Hey, I'm right there with you.
I'll just take on more and more and more, and then I won't sleep. And at some stage, it's unhealthy, So
yeah, maybe. Yeah, I would love to kind of like dive into that too, because in my intro, I kind of mentioned that you're not just a seller, which is a job in itself. A lot of people who dedicate their life are really good at their craft. You have a job, or this is your job. You have a team. You're making your living on Amazon. But then a second job is to actually teach, to like proactively answer questions on a platform like a Facebook group page, which you have thousands of followers. You have a YouTube channel, which you have thousands of followers, and you're providing content consistently for people. So you have to know how to edit, how to, well, you are, I'm saying, like, if you're doing it more, I say consistent. Well, I say consistent. You're speaking with other people like myself, who you've set aside an hour of your time on a different time zone to say, like, hey, I'm gonna just talk about, we haven't prepped anything for today. There's no questions on our screen, everyone. There's literally nothing. This is a very, and if this is your first time, I'll do a quick plug for the show. This is something that I felt there was a forum that was needed, that people just get perspective on both sellers, but also service providers, to give one perspective, right? I'm not going to go here and say this is the best software management tool, or this is the best, or PingPong is the best, like financials portfolio. They employ me, but we are here to educate people and to kind of bring perspective on, hey, if you didn't know about this topic, do more research or reach out to these people, because they're here to help you. But I have people on, coaches who do exactly what Sharon does all the time. But this show is to get just that little bit of perspective on how people are successful, maybe a takeaway they can get once or twice, but it's everything e-commerce. But anyways, I think you touched on a couple things. You said balance is key. And I think a lot of people are just struggling with that, especially being home. You're also a mom. And I think that's super, with the lockdown, what's that been like? Obviously you don't share, personal details, but what's it like to also be like a full-time focused parent, to like make sure that your son is, has their mom and their dad focused on him as well?
I am actually, for the people that follow me, I do actually open up quite a bit, but I'm not going to pretend like it was an easy year. It was an amazing year and a terrible year at the same time. It was a great year, as it was half. It was great and difficult this year, being a mum to a toddler. My son's 3.5 years old now. And it wasn't easy. in lockdown for 2.5 months and we took it really seriously in the beginning of this year without seeing anyone. Yeah. Right? Like just my husband, my son, and myself in our house. Now, we're very lucky. We worked hard for it, but very lucky to have a very big house. So we weren't in each other's faces all day, but you have to find something for a 3-year-old to do 24 hours in a day. And we both work from home. And you said that we have systems in place. And, part of, I speak freely and openly about the downsides to myself. And, there's a lot of things that I'm very good at, and there's a lot of things I need to work on. But my husband and I are a husband and wife team. He has his things for the businesses that he's in charge of, and I have the things that I'm in charge of. We have the things we're in charge of together, and we don't cross each other's things, but we're a husband and wife team, and that's most of what we do. It's him and I. We have freelancers that, we work with for, copywriting and images and all those sorts of things, but the nitty gritty stuff, it's us. The most important things, it's us. And I'm not saying this is how you should be. You shouldn't. You should have a system in place. You should have VAs. You should not be like us. So a lot of it is me being a control freak, and I'm working on it. And then you suddenly have a 3.5-year-old that's all day at home and no help. You can't bring a nanny. You can't bring mom. You can't bring everyone. And it's just us. And it was tough. I had to be extremely creative, and we had to find balance. Again, that word, balance. And it wasn't easy. And I'm really proud of my husband and I, because we got through it, and we're not divorced, so that's great. We're even,
a lot of people are.
we're even closer. So we're the opposite. We're now thinking about working on another baby. So I'm
breaking right here on the show. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we're not there
I'm just
yet.
kidding. No, I know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. It was a tough year, and then we got out of lockdown, and I had plans for certain things this year, but that was on a personal level. It wasn't easy. And then we went out of lockdown, and then back to lockdown. And then this time we weren't as scared as we were the first time, right. The second round. So we did have help. And then my husband couldn't work in his office downstairs anymore because my son and, the help that we had were making noise. So then he came into my office. And then you've got two people working in the same room all day. And my husband and I are basically like, he's the male version of me and I'm the female version of him. And that's either works or it doesn't. And in business, it's difficult having business partners in general. And it's even harder when it's your husband or your wife, because now you've got to also think about what comes out of your mouth, to make sure that it's not going to turn into some sort of fight. So somehow we got through that as well. But thank God we're out of lockdown. He's out of my office. I have to put that back into his, and we each have our own spaces now. So yeah,
I was going to say, so what's kind of like one major thing on a business or personal level that you've maybe taken from, I mean, obviously we're not out of a global pandemic. Like that just takes time when everyone feels like what's over, right? What do you think is the major takeaway that that you're going to think it's going to stick with you from after all of this?
Well, I have to say that I've learned a lot of things about myself this year. Earlier this year, I was part of Branded by Women, hosted by Danny McMillan. And it kind of changed a lot of my perspective on women in business, because originally I was a little bit angry. I was like, why do we need a women-based, event? Women and men should be the same. And I was totally I wanted to be a part of it, but I was also against it because, I couldn't understand why we needed an event specifically for women, because in my opinion, women and men are exactly the same. No man can do something better than me specifically because he's a man. If he can do it better than me, it's because he was smarter than me in it. He was faster than me or whatever, but not because I'm a woman. And then I got heaps and heaps of feedback from women about how I inspired them and things like that. And I was like, Oh my God, it does. Like, it is important to have these things. And I can tell you that one take I took from this year is women empowerment. And it changed my whole perspective on empowering women. I'm still want to help men. I'm just saying, you asked the question, so I'm answering it.
Oh yeah, no, be honest.
It's one of my biggest takes from this year is how important it is. I never looked at myself as a woman in business. I'm just a business woman because I'm a woman. So you say business woman, but I'm an entrepreneur, right? That's what I am. And I'm successful at what I do because I work hard for it. It has absolutely nothing to do with being a man or a woman. And then this year I realized that, more women need women like me in front of them for them to know that if I can do it, you can do it, right? Like if I can hustle and choose whether to sleep at night or to work or to make more money or whatever it is, they can decide to do it, yes or no. And just, that was probably my biggest take. And it happened after the Branded by Women event when I was,
And that happened back in February or March?
It was a month. It was a month this year. And if I could just tell you, like, the amount of feedback that I then got from women specifically, I was like, oh my God, and even men reached out to me. My wife, has been watching you. Thank you so much. And all of this. And it just opened my eyes up. Like, and I don't have anything to sell anyone. So it's like, it has nothing to do with anything like that. It was just, right. I was just like, I'm so happy that it's opened my eyes up to women empowerment because it was never a thing for me. I never looked at myself as a woman in this business or a mother in this business. I was just another person in this business with my own style. And then I was like, this is a man-driven industry. There are mostly men in this industry. When you do look at the speakers at events, there are hardly any women. And it is mostly men. And it is important that I be in many places as I can so that I can also show that, and I'm also not your typical woman, I'm blonde with all the makeup and it's part of who I am. It has nothing to do, I was like this before YouTube. My entire office,
I agree.
My entire office is full of Marilyn Monroe photos and stuff. That's always been my thing.
I love that.
And so
you didn't create a brand based upon who you want to be. This was who you were already. It's just amplified, correct?
I never, I will say that when I first started YouTube, I was 60% myself and 40% what I thought people wanted me to be. Okay. And I became 100% myself when I started being, when did it happen? It happened sometime last year, probably after my 4th or 5th videos on YouTube. And I was like, my PPC videos from last year were extremely in depth and probably better than any course. And they're absolutely free on YouTube. But I, at some stage, had enough of Amazon's difficult. Amazon is not easy. It's not for everyone. And I made sure to be very good, bad, ugly, right? Because there's the good, there's the bad, there is the super ugly side of Amazon. And it's not for everyone. And I will say, I know that I keep mentioning his name just because he had a big impact on my life this year. Danny this year told me, Danny McMillan said to me this year, I love the fact that you're a no bullshit type of person. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I am. And he said to me, never change, just be who you are.
Absolutely.
And I just realized the more of me just being me, I told you before we came on that I did a Zoom call the other day in my onesie. And I was like, guys, it's a Friday morning. I'm really tired. I didn't sleep well last night. I work from home. I should be allowed to do it. And I was in my onesie and I was like, I don't care. I'm in my onesie. I don't care how I look, And it's been great. People prefer people to be real rather than putting up their freaking Lamborghinis all day long and pretending as if life's beautiful all the time when life is beautiful, but it's also shitty sometimes,
Right. You have to just, be yourself. It's really short. I know we've had multiple people on here. It's just guys, life is short. Just be yourself and let people attract, you will attract the people by being sincere about yourself instead of putting up a fake facade. And when they meet you or they listen to you in real life, they'll be like, that trust instantly goes away once you drop the facade, if that makes sense. If you are trying to be somebody else 100%, like me, I'm a talker. Like I just talk and I don't know where this stuff comes from. Who knows where this interview will honestly go? I don't prepare this stuff, but because I want to listen, I want to understand people and try to get that perspective of an individual, if that makes sense. Like we're not going to go through, this is how you will PPC. This is the best way to do it. That's for people to understand. And that mentality is different than what this is. It's just let's talk about it. Maybe people will have like an actual question that we dive into, and then we go from there. So, but obviously going back to that, I think you're right. A lot of people do put on like this persona of like who they think that they want to stand out, whether it's on YouTube or on Amazon. And there's just a lot of personality out there. Like some people are just, not nice people. And there's also people who are super sincere and they just want to help people. I'm not saying either are bad, but there's just a gauntlet of people that you'll run into, especially, when you put yourself out there. I think this is the other thing, is that you will get a lot of people that give you unsolicited feedback, which is both a nice thing that you get, but also a like, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
I'm guessing I'm not that big yet. I'm not big enough for yet, because I haven't had that much, hate comments or, and if I have, it's always been about the way you look, which I really don't give a shit what anyone thinks. Like too much makeup, too much this. Honestly, like I couldn't care less what people think about that kind of stuff. I've never had bad feedback about the content.
That's awesome.
So not yet anyway. So it means I guess I'm not popular enough. No, I'm kidding. But I think that, coming into YouTube, you have to know how to have, thick skin and remember your why. And my why was, I was really sick of people getting information that was just so wrong. And I was just so sick of people being sold a dream, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I try to make it very, very balanced. Like we'll probably talk about it soon. What I went through after Prime Day, where I had 4 listings taken down, and one of them was my best sellers for a whole month. And you said consistent. I didn't put up a YouTube video during that month because I was too busy, like
problem solving real life situations. Yeah.
Problem solving and dealing with it, to come onto YouTube and be like, hey, everyone, sell on YouTube right now. On Amazon right now, when I was in this, like, I haven't been through something like that in ages. I'm usually helping people solve those problems. And I hadn't been through something like that for at least a year. And suddenly I was going through it all over again. And it was the worst attack I've ever had. And people need to know. People need to know that selling on Amazon has another side to it. And if you don't have thick skin, and if you don't have resilience, if you don't know how to be resilient, and if you don't know how to be prepared and how to problem solve, and if that type of thing just, is your make or break for you, it's not for you. And you shouldn't even, there's so many ways to make money online. So many ways to make money online. I've been making money online my entire life. I've only been on Amazon for 4 years. So, Amazon's not for everyone. It's for many people, but not for everyone. And that's what I wanted to come and say on YouTube. I wanted to say, here's the information that you need. At some stage, people started, sending me many messages, and it kind of got out of hand. So I did start coaching, and it was able to turn that into another business. And it's, I have no complaints. It's awesome. It's great. But it's just important, I think, for people to know the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that was my why for starting YouTube, basically, to be really sincere and open, and make sure that there's some good content. Not that there aren't. There are many good people on Amazon, on YouTube, with Amazon content that's good content. And there is probably a lot more Lamborghini people saying, "Hey, in a year
there's a term. There's a term I always use with that.
I was so sick of people belittling people's jobs as well. Like the world still needs electricians, and the world still needs people that are in McDonald's, and the world still needs lawyers, and they still need that, right? Like you can't belittle people's jobs. So it's I just wanted to come up with with reality, I think. And my reality anyway.
Well, I mean, that's the perspective that we're talking about, and that's super valuable to a lot of people. And as seen evident by your Facebook group and your following on YouTube, and people just just want to know more information. I actually have a couple questions that rolled in, and then we'll kind of go back to like obviously your Prime Day and whatnot. The thing that we were talking about and alluded to. Victoria Ann had a couple questions. This is the first one, part one. Victoria, thanks for writing it. Again, anyone who's listening, write them in the comments and we'll answer these as many as we can live. What can we do better than other sellers to prepare going into Q1 for 2021? And then part two is, other than monitoring, are you able to do anything better now to prepare for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, to hopefully prevent what happened to your listings on Prime Day? So I guess that alludes to what going into Prime Day, but Victoria, thanks for the question. Maybe part one I'll leave up there for you to refer to. Sharon.
Q1, I think everyone should be preparing for Chinese New Year. It's
100%.
Probably the best thing that you should, wear what are we in? What's the date today?
The 23rd or 4th? 25th? No, 23rd. It's November 23rd. Yeah.
Yeah. Tomorrow's my sister's 24th birthday, and she's on the 24th. So tomorrow's the 24th. There you go.
Happy early birthday.
Yeah, thanks. So I would say the first thing is you have about 2.5 weeks to put in orders for if you want them to be ready by Chinese New Year maximum. Like, you should be putting your orders in by the end of November to make sure that they're ready for Chinese New Year. I think that would be the number one priority, right?
Get your inventory, exactly.
Yeah, to make sure you've got inventory in, and Chinese New Year is. I think that my suppliers and I think that we've got until the end of January this year maximum to we already got prepared for Chinese New Year because of what happened last year. Well, this year.
Right. 2020.
We spent a lot of money, over $100,000 to make sure that we had enough stock until the end of Chinese New Year. So we stocked up. I do not say that, Victoria, I know Victoria doesn't need to be doing that, but I'm just saying that I think the number one thing to do right now is to make sure you've got your inventory in place. And if you don't know about Chinese New Year, I should probably make a new video. I have my last year's YouTube video on Chinese New Year. It's more or less the same. So you can watch that and how to prepare for it. And then the second question, which was what? Can we bring it up?
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick. Their second question, I think, is like, can you do other than monitoring? What can you do? So Black Friday, obviously being only less than a week away, 5 days away. What can you do besides monitoring Cyber Monday, Black Friday to hopefully prevent Amazon listings being taken down? Which alludes to what topic we were discussing. What happened to you individually?
So I dropped a YouTube video yesterday in the middle of the night, probably early morning for Americans, for how to prepare for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. It's a 45-minute video. So if you want in-depth stuff, go there. It's free. I'm not selling you anything. It's free on YouTube. I would say, though, to be really honest, there is nothing that you can do to stop what happened to me on Prime Day. I did all of my homework. I've spoken to the biggest Amazon sellers I know, and I know some pretty big Amazon sellers. Much, 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 much bigger than me. I'm like this small compared to billion-dollar people. And there's nothing you can do to stop what happened to me. Not Project Zero and not Transparency Program. Nothing can help you. What you can do is mentally prepare yourself for it. And
just be ready. Yeah.
Yeah, and what you can do is go in and check on your listings every 1 hour minimum. Make sure that everything's in place and that you don't have a dog page. And go in and make sure that you have no hijackers. Go in and make sure that you have a maximum of, let's say, 10 orders 10 units per order max. Because sometimes what people do on days like this, bad actor sellers, we call them, is they'll go in and they'll buy out all of your stock in one day. And by the time Amazon stops it, etc., Black Friday's over. and then you lost all your cells in, and by the time it gets handled, and so that's one thing. I always have between 3 to 10 unit max. That's how to prepare for the black hat stuff. That go in and make sure, look out for click fraud. There's a lot of click fraud that goes on during Black Friday.
For PPC.
For PPC, which you can get reimbursed on afterwards. And yeah, you have to be on top of your campaigns, make sure you're not going out of budget. And yeah, that's really quick stuff, but I have a whole 45-minute video on it. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. For the quick plug, check out Sharon's YouTube page. Just, search Sharon Evan. Has great content. Like I say it's consistent because I think like if you come out constantly and you're sharing that information, I think it's consistent, it's relevant, and it's timely. Check it out. Obviously, she dropped one last night. It's a must watch today to just prepare for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Obviously, my personal my input, if you don't mind, is don't change anything else. Like just you've done all of your homework. Just monitor, like Sharon said. Don't drastically change like wording or campaign strategies. You've probably already did your homework, and make sure that just follows up, and keep an eye on, if you have services like Helium 10 or an inventory level solution that just monitors that kind of stuff. Just be tuned into that and monitor it. But obviously, you're probably doing all the homework you can right now for Q1, which I think is super important for like watch out for Chinese New Year with spikes, obviously, and pandemic going again. We don't know what the next couple months can look like, so it's also super important to make sure your inventory is secure for hopefully at least a couple months, and hopefully we don't run into something similar we saw at the beginning of this year where they just stopped accepting inventory for non-essential goods. So those are all just projections, but yeah, definitely do your homework, monitor, and watch YouTube videos like Sharon had posted. So segue into what did happen on Black Friday, for those who don't know, maybe give us like a little bit of background on, obviously Black Friday so Prime Day was different this year. It's typically traditionally in June, July timeframe. Just yeah, exactly. To a proverbial holiday that Amazon decided, hey, let's just get more sales. But it's morphed over the time, and it's actually done very well. It got moved to October this year, and you were the one I monitor always. Your social channels. You're probably the most outspoken person. Is like, what is this crap that's going on with my listings? Maybe talk us through like what happened and kind of like educate us on that story.
So I have 2 beauty brands and a baby brand. And the reason I have 2 separate beauty brands is because my beauty brands are non-connected to one another. Like they go after, I got an email quickly and I looked at it. This is me getting distracted. Sorry. My beauty brands go after 2 totally separate buyer avatars. Hence why I have 2 separate beauty brands. And my baby brand is my baby brand. I spoke at, I can't remember the time. I think it was like 6 p.m. I was due to speak on Sellers Alley, which is a PPC agency with Yana from the YTL Translations. And
friend of the program. Yeah.
Yeah, she was on like a week ago or something.
Yeah.
She interviewed me on Prime Day, part of their like Prime Day Megathon. And I, 1 hour before that, realized that I had one listing taken down that was going to a dog page, and it was the bestseller it was a bestseller. I did not know, and then I had to go on and be live on a show, and then be all and I wasn't happy joy. I spoke about it, and I said, what is this crap? I didn't know yet what I know now. Throughout the day, I then had a further 3 listings taken down. I had got the most scariest email of my life that I've ever received from Amazon, which was your listing 1, 2, 3, what your listings 1, 2, 3 have been restricted for the following reasons. And there were over 25 restrictions for drug-related keywords.
For each listing or just in general?
Each listing had 25 different violations. I've never seen an email like that in my entire life. 25 usually have one restriction. Okay. That's how it usually is. I've been selling on Amazon for 4 years. I've been restricted in the past. Usually you have one restriction. I had 25 restrictions for 4 products. And you're like, I had a heart attack, honestly. Like
this is Prime Day. Yeah.
I said to my husband, thank God I'm not pregnant, because I've gone through a miscarriage in the past. And I said, thank God I'm not pregnant, because that is how, like, with all seriousness, how intense it was. I was like, thank God I'm not pregnant, because I would probably, you know, be really, really bad right now. And it took me 3.5 weeks to get, no, it took me 2 weeks to get 3 of them back, and over 30 days to get the bestseller back. Basically what happened is somebody went into the Canadian account. So when you sell on Amazon.com, you automatically have a .com and Canada and Mexican account. And they went through meaning I didn't know yet that it was internal from our account, from the Canadian account. They uploaded a flat file with over 250 drug-related keywords, the most randomest keywords you've ever seen, Ryan, like all sorts of, like, you know, drugs-related keywords, like CBD and things like that. But on top of that, lion's ear, poppy seeds, cocoa leaves, like so many different things. And that took me about 4 or 5 days to figure out the flat file thing, because who the hell thought about going and looking in the Canadian listings? Some of them weren't even sold on Canada. And
because they're all tied together, United.com, Mexico and Canada.
If someone would have done this through the UK account, it still would have taken down the USA accounts, the USA listings, because it's all throughout Amazon. It's always the same ASIN.
Right, but you're the account holder, so that makes sense.
But it doesn't matter about, like, what account it came from or anything like that. What matters is the information on the listing that's tied to the listing, and it automatically takes it down. The restrictions, like the keywords put in, were so bad that it took down everything.
Oh my gosh.
And it took me ages to figure it out. Ages. I mean, it took me a couple of days, which is ages.
Right. In online selling during a very popular time, you're losing money every single minute that it's not up there.
We lost, I think, at least $50,000 in sales from being taken down. More than that, probably, for being taken down for so long amongst those ASINs. And the thing is nothing that, you know, I'm not going to get that back. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is, I'm not going to get like hardcore into it, because I have no proof to this, but there is no doubt in my mind that it was an internal job. Like, no doubt in my mind that it was an internal job.
So you're saying Amazon, someone potentially
on Amazon, an Amazon seller, an Amazon person that works in Amazon to do that. When a flat file, when you see a flat file from within your account, okay, it came from within your account. If you see activity in the account, it was from your account. And I did not know this. I thought that maybe if somebody else uploads a flat file from their account, then it's logical that I'd see it in my account. I did not know that it meant that. And it took me about 2.5 weeks of speaking to much, much bigger sellers than me to figure that out. And then I had Amazon confirm it. And I was like, holy crap, where have you been for the last 2 weeks? Every time I spoke to her, you know, why didn't you guys tell me this? And then I was like, so then we went in and we changed all of our passwords for everything. And then after about 2 days, my husband said to me, you realize it's impossible for someone to hack our accounts. Like, it's impossible. The amount of security we have in place, it's impossible. And then with everything going on, you know, we won't name names, but with everything going on with the bribery stuff, yeah,
You're referring to the United States Department of Justice hacking, or like, yeah, they filed claims that there were sellers buying and selling information for obviously. I mean, it's out there. It's public domain. You can search for it. There's Amazon sellers, gurus, you know, things like that. People were actually buying and selling information to prop up their own businesses, and kind of working against the grain there. But anyways, that's a separate topic for another conversation, obviously. So you find out that the file is obviously it's bad. You found this out a couple days later.
I uploaded a flat file on the 4th day when I figured out that it was a flat file through the Canadian account. And it fixed 3 of the listings, and the most important listing for me to get back, it didn't. And that listing took me over a month to get back. And the issue was, in case this happens to anyone, because by the way, it happened to people in my niche and in the beauty niche in general. Okay.
So not just yourself, but across the beauty brand in general.
It happened to, I know of at least 20 people that it happened to them. Some of them are my competitors, and some of them are just Amazon sellers that, you know, because I'm so well connected in the industry, I got names of people from people, hey, speak to this person, they went through the same thing. Then we shared with each other the back end keywords, and we realized it was the same freaking back end keywords. And we all had a flat file uploaded at the same time, which was on the 12th of October, sometime in the afternoon, like just before Prime Day. And we realized that, you know, it's something way bigger than something I can understand, and I don't want to, you know, I don't want to get into it anyway. But the point is, the one thing that was left was they had changed the ingredients to cocoa leaves and poppy seeds. And I had figured that out through brand registry. So the brand registry people had sent me, you know, this is the last thing you need to fix. And the thing is, there was nowhere to upload that in the flat file or to change that in the back end. Only brand registry could have done that. Now I have access to do it myself because I asked them for it. So that was the one thing, and, you know, and then you're like, if only I knew the problem was the ingredients like 2 weeks ago, you know, I would have gotten the listing back way earlier. Anyway, I went through a really shitty October, and it was really, really bad. And I did, you know, I said to my community, because, you know, I've built the Amazon FBA Alphas community, I said, you know, I have to take a step back this month and be 100% with my businesses, because that's my bread and butter. You know, people sometimes say, well, you know, she does coaching, she does YouTube, blah, but my bread and butter and the things that, you know, the main income in my household, 75% of it is Amazon and our brands. And when there's an issue there, you have to put 100% to that. You can't divide yourself to being a mom, being a wife, holding a household, owning, you know, 4 different businesses. And then it needed me, because I'm the one that understands Amazon like the back of my hand, not my husband. My husband has his things that he's in charge of, like inventory and everything to do with payments and accounts and everything like that. So yeah, and that's why I didn't make a YouTube video for that month, because I had to be 100% with that. And I think the lesson to take from that is that everything's figure outable. It's something that I say, everything number one, in Amazon, you need to know people. You need to be well connected. It's important to be part of networks and different communities. And because, you know, I had so many people from the community reach out to me, like Danny McMillan and oh my God, I forgot his last name. Tomer, not Robinovich, a different Tomer. I've just forgotten his last name. He also has a YouTube channel called Sourcing Monsters. And he helped me just by being there for me. Liran Hirschkorn, you know, they didn't like have some amazing formula to help me, but they were there for me and were like trying to help me. Go check this, go check this, go check this. And it's so important. It's what I'm usually doing for other people. And then suddenly I was the person with this issue. And yeah, that's what I really took from it, that everything's figure outable in the end. It's really shitty sometimes, but you either need to know the right people or have the right tricks up your sleeve or hire the right lawyers to help you in these situations.
Exactly.
But if it happens to you, just know it's figure outable.
Yeah. I mean, that story in itself is just so many things you can relate to. You know how to fix it in the future, but now you can educate people how to quickly fix it. What's kind of do you think, gosh, I mean, with something like that, do you think a lot of people shy away when you hear stories like that about selling online? Or do you think, like, you know, there's just a lot more people that are trying to get you instead of like prop you up? I mean, like you can look at a different point of views. I'll take a step back. You can say there's a lot of people that support you and want to help you out. But then also when you're a seller or potential seller, which you talk to a lot of beginners, if I'm going to jump into the Amazon game and I want to like know all the potential risks versus rewards, and you say like Amazon potentially itself could be out to get me, or like just completely ruin almost a flawless setup. What's kind of your takeaway, your major, I want to say overarching takeaway from from that event?
I think that regardless of what happens with that kind of stuff, you need to be an entrepreneur. You need resilience. You need to know how to figure stuff out. You need to be prepared for, my dad taught me as a little girl, hope for the best, expect the worst, right? The first thing when that happened was not, oh my God, let's quit selling on Amazon. The first thing when that happened was, oh my God, how shitty is this? How do I solve the problem? Entrepreneurs are problem solvers. Entrepreneurs are not people that something shitty happens, they lift their hands up, right? And if you are that type of person, yeah, Amazon, in my opinion, isn't for you, because not just Amazon, business, being a business owner, like we've owned restaurants, we've done many things in our lifetime, my husband and I. My husband's 8 years older than me. We've done many, many different things, and business is hard, right? Like,
absolutely.
My dad always told me as a little girl, when the owners have a different headache from the employees, right? So he used to always say to me, the people who know how work for the people who know why. And it's a quote from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. My dad had a huge impact on who I am today. And he told me all these things. And business in itself, like, if you were selling in a store in the middle of a big, like anywhere, anywhere, any business, a restaurant, anything, it has its own headaches. It has its own shitty situation. Suppliers don't pay you on time, or different things happen, or you don't have the money to pay suppliers on time, or, there's all sorts of different things that can happen. Business is hard. And either you're resilient or not. Either you know how to pivot in times, or you don't. Either shitty things happen and you lift your hands up, or you keep going, right? And Amazon, you need to know you don't have 100% control. You don't. No one's going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you. You don't have 100% control. And that's why you don't put all your eggs in one basket, and you build outside of Amazon as well. Or you have multiple products, many smaller products. And yeah, I think that if hearing my story puts you off, then it's not for you. Straight up, it's not for you, because it could happen to you. I'm not trying to scare you, but it could. It could.
Right.
If you've got a selling product that's in front of people's eyeballs, it could happen to you. And if that is going to be the make or break of you, then it's not for you. Not just Amazon, entrepreneurship, because building a business is difficult. It's not easy. But at the same time, I have a big house. I have freedom, right? My most important thing is my freedom. I don't have the Lamborghinis, and because I don't give a shit about that stuff. I honestly don't. What I care about is that when I want to buy something, I don't have to think twice. And that could even just be buying a toy for my son that's expensive, and I feel like buying it because I feel like buying it. When I want to,
you worked hard to give it to him. Yeah, absolutely.
I work really freaking hard to give it to him, and I can consistently work hard to give it to him. And I'm a businesswoman, and I will continue to bring out new businesses over time. But my freedom, and it's not the freedom to be on my Lamborghini all day because I don't have one. The freedom, I could buy one if I wanted to, but I'm not interested in that. I prefer to invest in houses. But anyway, the freedom to do what I want is the most important thing to me. And everyone has freedom. Like, freedom, what it means to me and what it means to you could be two totally different things, right? And you don't have to be a 7-figure seller to be kicking ass on Amazon. You could be a 6-figure seller, or even a 5-figure seller, and that's enough for you. And that's why I did YouTube, so that people, just because you're not making $100 million or $7 million or $1 million doesn't mean you're not kicking ass in your way, right?
Absolutely.
We all have our different goals, but you have to know that you need to kick ass. You need to be able. It's why we're called the alphas. It's why I call my group the FBA alphas. Alphas don't, they don't give up. It's you fight, you battle until you die, right? The wolf, the main alpha, he doesn't. It's either to replace him, he's got to die. And I'll keep kicking ass until that happens. Hopefully when I'm 90 years old. And so that's my attitude for it. I know not everyone's like me. Most people probably aren't, like that, but you don't have to be 100% like me. You can be a little bit less aggressive and still make it. But I do think that it's important to know there's a beautiful side to Amazon. Amazon gave me freedom. Amazon opened up a lot of doors for me. Amazon gave me the ability to produce products and get it in front of not millions, but tens of thousands of people. And I'm thankful for Amazon. And I'm also thankful that I'm smart enough to know how to get off of Amazon as well.
Exactly. Well, I think that's, I mean, obviously that's super powerful message that you have right there. I know there's some people that are asking, like, obviously, what's the next step for you? I mean, we have a couple questions about like PPC and your thoughts on like a couple different things. So however you want to go, we can pivot from there, or we can talk about like you coaching and kind of what that.
I'm gonna go with the flow.
You want to go with the flow? That's fine.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll come back to the. I know we had a couple questions about how to scale, and we'll definitely try to get to those real quickly. But I know that translation to the coaching, like obviously, where do you see yourself coaching? Like you're new to this, like you said, you don't know everything. What is it that you want to get out of coaching other sellers? Where do you want to see that eventually maybe, pivot to, or is it, just get in front of more people? Is it enable people? Are you there? Are you just need more followers, or what's kind of that look like for you?
You're asking this in a time where I'm just working on understanding that, because over the last month, and straight up, my husband and I have started talking about bringing, another baby into this world. And he was like, we can't do that if this is how how are you going to be able to be a mom to a newborn if you're working 14 hours a day? And then I went back to my why, and I was like, I don't want to work right now 14 hours a day. I don't get these years back that my son's 3.5. You don't get these years back. I'm sure you're a dad, right?
Yep,
right?
Absolutely. I have a 6-year-old.
You don't get these years back. And coaching has taken over a lot of my time. And the thing is that most of my coaching are PPC calls, and most of my coaching is, me hearing problems and solving problems. And the thing is, because I'm such a control freak, I think people have to have me, and I don't hire that out. It's me. I do the one-on-one coaching. On the other hand, if they would have just bought out a good product and not been sold a story that you just go on, a software and find a product and put your logo on it and that's it, maybe we wouldn't have even gotten to that situation. And a lot of people have asked me to bring out a course and to make A to Z course and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, I don't have time to do that. So I made a product research course, and I'm not even like, I don't do any Facebook ads. I don't advertise it. It's just, if it sells, it sells, and I do what I do there. But I've decided I do have to take a step back. I can't continue coaching the way that I am, because it's taking over my life, and I can't continue doing that. I need to be able to scale my businesses and take one step back and have SOPs in place so that I can do what I was doing before I started this, and being a good mother and being a good wife and being happy and etc. So I think the future holds for me I do want to make, I've already built this community. I've already built this. It would be a shame to not do it. And I am a businesswoman. So I think that I am going to work on making an A to Z course, but my way. I think one of the things that's different about me is, I don't kiss anyone's ass. So I don't kiss Helium Pen's ass or anyone's, or even PingPong's. I don't kiss people's ass. I say it the way it is. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't try and I say I don't use softwares to find products. I say you don't need this to find products, etc. And I'll make it my way, the way that I believe in. People like it, they can buy it. If they don't, watch my free stuff on YouTube. And I will take a step back from that. And I think that I'm going to work hard on monetizing and creating some sort of membership program of some sort. I still want to be able to give people the content, and I do feel that people need my content, but I have to find a better way to do that, to still be happy in life and not have it take over my life. And still, I want to start a new brand next year. I want to scale one of my brands to sell. I want to have another baby. I want to be a good mom. I want to be a good mentor. I need to have better balance and better systems in places. And that's what I'm planning on working on in 2021.
That's awesome. I mean, I think you have to have at the center of everything. I think the biggest takeaway for me is you have to keep going after your why. Like, again, if things and opportunities present themselves, that's fantastic. But if it's not going to benefit why are you doing it in the first place, like if that's going to take time away from it, or if you just lose focus, I think that's very hard to say, keep giving yourself more and more. I mean, me, myself, starting and just educating people in general, it's a lot of prep work. It's like finding people who are knowledgeable about a system to say, hey, come on here, let's talk an hour a day or whenever we can, to just talk about and educate people to a community that want to learn more. That in itself is, I could be spending that time either with my son, or I could be doing it and building out my business, or doing another job and to connect to other people, whatever that looks like. And obviously there's not one perfect solution out there. Everyone has something that's going to fit and feel right by them. Like I said, there's not every solution or service that's going to fix every single problem. If that were the case, everyone would just stop building them, right? Like they were like, hey, I can build better. I can build on top of this, or that's a good idea. Let me build my own. But if there's something that fit for everyone, then everyone be, that would be a $10 billion industry and we'd all be using it, right? But there's not that one solution. So I agree with you there. I know we had a couple questions, so that's really cool. I know 2020 threw us a lot of curveballs, and we're dipping and dodging still. Going forward, I think there's a couple questions.
2020 was a great year for my personal branding, I have to say. Like, I'm very thankful for this year on that level, on a personal branding level, because my name got out there this year, and I was not being up myself, but one of the most sought after speakers this year. And that kind of, last year I was watching Kevin King speaking in Stellarfest and went up to him and got to ask him, can I take a photo with you? As if he's like some huge celebrity. And then this year I passed him on Cellarpole, which is insane to me. It's just the power of, I don't know what the power of, but the power of giving or getting YouTube or whatever. I don't really know what the power of it is, but social media maybe, but it's just crazy,
Absolutely.
So for me, 2020 was a good year on that sense of my personal branding. It was also a great year for my actual brands. But there were a lot of things that behind the scenes that we had to, all of us, not me, you, everyone, we had to deal with. And that was
absolutely finding
the balance. All right. Yeah. What are the questions?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. So a couple of people are asking, "Are you able to watch this later?" Yes, 100%, of course. This can be available. Obviously, I can send the video file for Sharon if she wants to upload it to herself, or you can obviously subscribe or watch it later on our PingPong Payments YouTube page, Facebook page. It's all rewatchable. Even on LinkedIn, if you follow us there, all rewatchable content. Share it. Obviously, consume it as you can. If you can't watch it live, I totally understand. These are weird hours, and everyone around the world are awake or different times of day. I think that there is a couple of people who will, obviously, the power of influence from Anusha. We actually do have someone who maybe misconceived, maybe like what you were saying. Like, I don't from this comment how I'm right from what I'm. Yeah, what I'm meaning, what I read by this is, it's not, I don't think Sharon is meaning
I have no idea.
By not her way or the highway, right? I don't think that's what she means. I think that there's so many different options, and people have to just be comfortable enough with doing what's right by them. Nothing's going to obviously work for every single person, and I think when you mean is, I'm a strong person and I have a mentality that if it's not for me and my family, then I can't just obviously, put time and effort into negativity or whatever that looks like. Being strong and independent is different than my way or the highway. I don't think that you're giving that.
I have no idea what he meant. I honestly
there's a couple different things, but I
also I don't know if there's something negative there. I really not,
I mean, there's a couple different ones, and I was trying to infer, I think that there's a, misunderstanding.
I never once said it's either my way or the highway. I was just saying that I'm putting, my family and my life first, and it's not going to apologize for that. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I obviously, as a moderator, almost like a moderator, I feel like people should understand both sides of the coin. If that was a misunderstanding.
We may not be understanding him correctly.
Right. And I think that's what I want to bring up. I'm not hiding that. A couple people had actual, other questions about PPC and valuable insight. Anusha actually who commented earlier, thank you, Sharon, for your valuable insight. How do I go from 1 to 2 orders a day to tens of hundreds a day? Like, obviously, that's great that she's applying a PPC strategy. Is there something that you think you can to answer for that general question?
First of all, you need to know if you even have, you need to understand what your ability for market share is in your market, and know if you're even able to have hundreds of sales a day. Like, you have to understand what the market cap is there, and then what is each percentage that each seller has on market share. So, you may not, hundreds of sales a day may not even be something that you can get to within your niche. You need to know if you can, compared to the saturation or no saturation in your niche. If we focus on specifically on PPC, it's very difficult to answer these questions without knowing what the product is and the niche. But the way that I do PPC is I'm very focused on buyer avatar and buyer's intention. So I focus on keywords with intent to buy, because your click-through rate and your conversion is usually a lot higher when you focus on selling to the person that's actually looking for your product. So my PPC videos are a great way to start. And I would definitely say the best way to try and get more sales is to focus on the people that are specifically wanting to buy your product. So buyer's intent, keywords wise, initially.
Yeah, that makes sense. And obviously, like you said, each product is individualized. It's not as every model fits for every single product. You have to make sure that the niche, number one, is scalable, and number two, the price point. And you just have to do your market research and know product research, what the demand is if people are searching for it, and kind of look for those trends in that regards. I don't know how much time I have you. I know we initially scheduled this for an hour.
And then okay. I have a call at my 8.
No, absolutely. I'm going to wrap this up then real quick. I wanted to make sure that we're time sensitive. Again, everyone who's listening to us live right now on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, obviously we appreciate you guys joining us. You can consume this again afterwards if you just didn't catch the whole show, or if you just wanted to go back. It will definitely be available on all of our platforms as well. I guess, Sharon, if there's one more question before we leave you today, where are you gaining your knowledge? Like, how are you becoming a better seller, just by like self-education?
By actively selling on Amazon.
Right. Are you, I guess besides that, which is firsthand experience, I
sell on Amazon myself, and that's
right.
the freaking experience you can get. Right?
Are you listening to like any podcasts, or like, I know you're an inspirational person. Is there something that you kind of like use as motivation to like, hey, I'm like, I can do this, I can keep going? Is there a place that you're getting all that?
I'm the type of person, like, this isn't me thinking I know it all or anything. I just don't have time to watch anything. So I don't. The only show that I watch is Seller Sessions by Danny McMillan once in a while when I can.
Sure.
Every day when I put my makeup on, because I'm in front of the camera all day, I watch at least 20 minutes of Shark Tank. That's nice. Has nothing to do with Amazon, but I watch 20 minutes of Shark Tank because there's lots of hidden things in there that you can learn from. So That's the only thing I watch that is not a screen looking at numbers and stuff.
That makes sense. Like, I know like sellers like you are super busy, so I didn't know if there was a podcast you're listening to or anything.
If I was a new seller, I would be listening to Kian Golzari, Danny McMillan, obviously myself, Adam Heist. Those are the people that I would be listening to and following and watching if I was a new seller.
Absolutely. Yeah, Kian's fantastic with sourcing and product shipping and everything like that. So all great names, obviously found on YouTube. All these people are found on YouTube. I think that's the number one source to start. It's just like compare and contrast different styles. If you are drawn to people like Sharon, obviously that's a great place to start. If you're drawn to people like Kian or Danny, for those of you who don't know, it's been referred to a couple times on the show. Danny does it every single day. I know Mondays is Isabella now. Friend of the show with Rank Bell, but Danny goes live every single day with sellers as well as influencers and service providers, talking about just different perspectives in the industry. He's a really good content producer, to educate yourself and continuing education. So that's all great knowledge. But I think like today was super insightful for a lot of people. Thank you for being vulnerable and just sharing information with people. Would love to have you on maybe like in a month or two, just kind of know how like end of 2020 went, get updates and things like that. But how can people, Sharon, get in touch with you? How can they learn more information?
You can find me on YouTube, Sharon Evan. You can find me on Facebook in the Amazon FBA Alphas group. So Amazon FBA Alphas - private label domination, or you can just look Amazon FBA Alphas. Voted number 5 best group on Seller Poll. And my website, www.sharonevan.com.
Yep. And we provided that in the ticker below. So SharonEvan.com, follow her on social media. Again, thank you so much for your time. I think you're doing a great job for your community. I always am personally a fan and following in all the social media channels I can. Keep pushing yourself, and obviously if there's anything you need from our perspective, let us know. But I don't know what I can offer because you're doing it all already. But
Ryan, I appreciate it.
But yeah, thank you everyone for joining. We'd love to have you on. We're going live both tomorrow and Wednesday. We're off for the holidays, but we'll jump right back in again next week. Follow us, PingPong Payments on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, social media. Again, follow Sharon as well. We'd love to bring more education and perspective in the e-commerce world and Amazon world to you guys. We go live on all this, and then it'll be consumable on those channels as well. But thank you so much for your time today. I love talking to you as always, and good luck and be safe out there.
Thank you. Bye.